25th of June, day 6. We had an interesting day today after a beautiful overnight sail past the Sunshine Coast, Noosa and Caloundra and those places. Wendy's first night as an overnight sail, and she absolutely loved it. So that was a great introduction for her. We had, about 10 knots from the west and slightly south of west. Yeah, not much swell, just full moon as well, just an absolutely fantastic night sailing, which brought us up to the sandbar across the opening into Fraser, behind Fraser, and we had such a good night's sail that we were actually there ahead of time, so we'd anticipated to be there around about 10 AM. As it was, we got there around about 8, and because the conditions were so favourable, the wind being light, the swells being quite small, we radioed into Tin Can Bay Marine Rescue and just got their take on the conditions, and they thought that the conditions would be okay to go in, that a couple of yachts had gone in ahead of us, and that even though 10 AM would be 2 hours prior to high tide, that 8 AM or it was probably around about 8:30 by the time we thought about going through, that it would still be okay. So we checked it out, and there was a couple of other boats milling around considering the same thing, and eventually one of them headed off and did okay, so we thought we'd just follow through. We had a fantastic run through the bar, no real problems, bit of chop. The wind was offshore, so there was a little bit of wind against current with the wind blowing offshore, but the tide flooding in against it. But just small little wavelets, nothing too major to worry about. A little bit bumpy along the way, but certainly no rolling breakers or anything like that to be too concerned of. So as it was, we had a fantastic crossing, got in behind Fraser into flat smooth water. Something we were thinking we would have to do would be to have to wait out until the next day for the next high tide to get through this shallow section up around Moonboom Islands. And because we got through so early, because we were 2 hours ahead of our scheduled arrival, it actually left enough time to get all the way up to the shallowest section and get through on the same tide. We didn't have much under. There was only about 1.5 meters under the keel at one point, but that's plenty for us. So yeah, we got through, and we've made it all the way through to the anchorage just off Kingfisher Resort at North White Cliffs, where we are at the moment, and it's in a lovely anchorage, good holding, beautiful view of Fraser Island, and just ready to settle down for a night on the anchor. Considering what to do for tomorrow, we might get off on the island, do something or other, but it's generally just transitioning now into cruising mode, where you sail a bit and then get on the anchor and just relax. So great phase now, and looking forward to the few days ahead. So this is the bar crossing itself. What you've got here is a directional white light during the day, which you're meant to line up with. According to the chart, you're meant to line up at 281 degrees. You're then meant to, running along that transit, you're meant to get to this point where there's another transit forms with two transit points on the land, and follow that through on 243 degrees, both of these being true. Instead of doing strictly that, we actually radioed through to the Volunteer Marine Rescue at Tin Can Bay, and they gave us a few coordinates which we plugged into the GPS, which we basically just had 3 waypoints, one which was around about here, another one round about at that point, and then the third one down around this point. The point of doing that, rather than going strictly on the chart, is that the sandbar shifts every now and again, and the Volunteer Marine Rescue have the most up-to-date information about which is the best route to take through there based on the information they have at hand, so it's good to go with that. We then followed around all the way up through this section up here, and then getting up to this point up here. This was the shallowest section up through here, and on the chart it's listed as being as low as 0.4, 0.2. With the tide as it was, it had just started to drop. We were just on the other side of high tide, and we got through there as with about, the worst I saw was about 1.7 underneath the keel. So yeah, we were pretty lucky to get through there on one. We were considering, if we were having to wait it out, just waiting down here at Gary's anchorage, which is around about here. But yeah, luckily enough, we saved ourselves pretty much a day and continued through up past the top of the chart here. On to the next chart. Through to North White Cliffs up here, where the Kingfisher Resort is, and that's where we are right now.